I know it is no laughing matter what I have done. In the beginning, I never thought anyone would take my writing seriously.
Bridgerton Season 4 is shaping up to be a major turning point for the beloved Netflix series, because even though it's expected to dive deep into Benedict's love story, it's also the show's last real chance to properly set up Eloise's book-accurate romance. The series, based on Julia Quinn's famous novels, has made quite a few changes from the original books over the years. That's mostly because Netflix's version is built more like an ensemble drama, giving multiple family members space to shine each season, while the books typically focus entirely on one Bridgerton sibling's romantic journey at a time. In the novels, everyone else just sort of drops in whenever they're needed to push the main love story forward or offer emotional support, but the show has taken a broader, more interconnected approach. Because of that, the show's writers have shifted the lives of several characters, sometimes in major ways. Even so, Bridgerton has always made sure to stay somewhat loyal to Quinn's core romances, even when names, backstories, or cultural details are changed to fit the show's more diverse and modern casting. Still, it's hard not to notice that Netflix has gotten bolder with its creative liberties lately, like how Francesca's future love interest has been changed from Michael to Michaela, and how Eloise has been given a brief but intriguing intellectual connection with a printer's apprentice named Theo. That's made some fans wonder, is Netflix planning to completely skip over Eloise's complicated and somewhat tragic book romance? To understand why that question matters, it helps to know a bit about Eloise's story in the novels. Her love story comes from the 5th Bridgerton book, To Sir Philip with Love. In it, Eloise ends up with Sir Philip Crane, who happens to be Marina Thompson's husband. Marina's story was a big part of Season 1 of the show. She was the young woman who faced intense societal pressure to marry because she was secretly pregnant. Her arc revealed just how limited women's choices were during the Regency era, and the extreme lengths some went to in order to survive. On the show, Marina was criticized by both fans and characters for trying to trap Colin Bridgerton into marriage, but she seemed to have found some stability when Colin visited her again in Season 2. In the books, though, Marina's life takes a much darker turn. She suffers from deep depression and eventually passes away after a failed attempt to take her own life. Philip is left to raise their children alone, and that's when Eloise, lonely and unsure of her place in the world after Penelope gets married, starts writing letters to him. Their connection begins through words, evolving into something unexpectedly tender. The key difference is that, in the books, Marina is actually a distant cousin of the Bridgertons. That gives Eloise a believable reason to reach out after Marina's death. In the Netflix series, however, Marina is tied to the Featheringtons instead, so Eloise wouldn't have the same personal reason to contact Philip. That small change ends up making it difficult for the show to naturally lead into her book storyline. And so far, aside from Philip and Marina simply existing in the same universe, Bridgerton hasn't done much to build the foundation for Eloise's romance at all. Technically, Season 5 should be Eloise's time to shine, since the 5th book is all about her. But because we haven't seen Season 4 yet, it's hard to tell whether the show plans to start setting that up anytime soon. Based on what we know, though, it seems like there's a good chance Season 5 could actually focus on Francesca instead, especially since her future romance with Michaela was teased during Season 3. Still, if Netflix wants to follow the books at least somewhat, Eloise's story needs to start taking shape in the upcoming season. Now, looking at the order of the original Bridgerton novels, it's clear how the show's pacing compares. Daphne's story came first, followed by Anthony, then Benedict, Colin, and finally Eloise. After her comes Francesca, Hyacinth, and Gregory. The books also feature significant time jumps between each sibling's story, which makes sense of Eloise being around 28 years old by the time her book begins. The show, however, hasn't really used big time skips, and Eloise still feels quite young, more interested in freedom and ideas than marriage. Because of that, her story might fit better in Season 6, after she's matured a bit more. But for that to work, Season 4 needs to at least begin introducing the pieces that will make her eventual love story believable. Even if Bridgerton decides to rearrange the book order again, as it already did when Colin's story was moved ahead of Benedict's, The groundwork for Eloise's relationship with Philip should be laid soon. Season 4 doesn't have to rush her into romance, but it should start giving her reasons to interact with Philip and Marina, maybe through her connection to Penelope. After all, her letters to Philip are the heart of their relationship in the books. Without a strong motivation for her to start writing to him, their entire romance risks feeling forced when it finally happens. It's also worth noting that Marina's character in the show is handled with far more compassion than in the books. Her story already carries heavy emotional weight, so revisiting it just to show her tragic ending might feel unnecessarily grim for a show that's mostly about love and optimism. That's another reason the writers might choose to go in a different direction with Eloise. How would they even approach such a sensitive topic as Marina's death and Philip's grief in a series that's known for its charm, sensuality, and colorful escapism? Besides, the version of Eloise we've come to know on Netflix is quite different from her book counterpart, and that's honestly for the better. Claudia Jesse's Eloise is witty, outspoken, and refreshingly self-assured. She's not the kind of woman who would tolerate neglect or settle for a partner who doesn't understand her. Book Philip, on the other hand, is a rather cold and inattentive man who struggles to connect emotionally with his children or with Eloise. It's hard to imagine this version of Eloise ever accepting that kind of relationship. Of course, Netflix could soften Philip's character or even reinvent him entirely to make him more compatible with Eloise, but that might not be enough to make their romance convincing. For Eloise's eventual love story to work, her partner needs to genuinely challenge her intellect and respect her independence, qualities that Theo Sharp seemed to offer in Season 2. Theo felt like a modern match for her, smart, curious, and passionate about ideas. It's no wonder fans love their chemistry. If the writers ever brought him back, it could make for a much more natural and heartfelt story than pairing her with Philip just to follow the book. Meanwhile, Season 4's spotlight is clearly shifting toward Benedict Bridgerton. Netflix officially announced that his long-awaited love story with Sophie Beckett will take center stage this time around. The season will arrive in 2 parts, Part 1 dropping on January 29th and Part 2 following on February 26th. And from the looks of the teaser, it's going to be a fairy tale full of mystery and passion. Benedict meets Sophie at a masquerade ball hosted by his mother, Violet. Sophie sneaks into the event disguised as a mysterious lady in silver, and when they meet, the connection between them is immediate and electric. The teaser hints at an enchanting romance full of longing and disguise, setting the stage for Benedict's personal awakening as both an artist and a lover. Julie Andrews, as the voice of Lady Whistledown, narrates the teaser with her signature elegance, asking viewers whether people truly rise to the occasion when life's challenges appear, a fitting question for a season about love and identity. Production began back in September 2024, and Luke Thompson, who plays Benedict, described Season 4 as an exploration of the struggle between the fairy tale version of romance and the real-world complexities that come with it. He teased that fans can expect plenty of twists and surprises as Benedict learns what it really means to fall in love beyond fantasy. Yaren Ha, who joins the cast as Sophie, also opened up about working with Thompson. She said the two have great on-screen chemistry, partly because of their openness and comfort with each other. They both decided not to seek advice from the show's previous romantic leads like Rege-Jean or Jonathan Bailey, wanting instead to discover their own rhythm and authenticity. He shared that she spoke to former leading ladies Phoebe Dynevor, Simone Ashley, and Nicola Coughlan, who all reassured her about the experience, saying that while the Bridgerton fandom can feel intimidating, it's also incredibly loving and supportive. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.